Hello, and welcome back to another pen talk. Yes, it's a new year, 2025. Hopefully this year brings incredible joy, wonder, merriment into your life. And hopefully you can share it with others, because that's the fun part to me. First you have to enjoy it, then you can share it. So you see 4 pens sitting in front of you, and a lot of people do best of, worst of, pen of, but I've done those, and I don't really like repeating myself over and over again just for the sake of doing that. So I have these 4 pens in front of you, basically because I have this nice soap dish that fits pens very well, and it has 4 slots, so therefore we have 4 pens. So what these pens illustrate is the ink makes the pen. And these pens also have a great combination with the ink. And for an ink to make a great pen, number one, it has to have a great nib. So obviously that narrows the field. Number 2, it has to feel good in the hand. You have to enjoy holding the pen, not having to go through contortions and not having it be back weighted or front weighted that you don't like. And third, you have to enjoy looking at the pen. I know that's sometimes more important than others, but I think these 4 certainly represent those 3 traits very, very well. And there's a lot of differences here. We have a titanium metal pen, which is quite noisy on the tray. There's a nice 2 turned acrylics, and I have to say that turned acrylic is my most favorite material of a pen because of the incredible varieties. It's amazingly stable. It doesn't seem to degrade or fall apart or crack or any of those other things that a lot of other pens have. And this is a cellulose acetate, at least that's what Omas said it was. It's kind of, I think, injection molded, but to break it down into very simple terms, you have 3 plastic pens and 1 metal pen. And I think that's a great variety of pens, just to show you where the range of fountain pens that you can use and buy and appreciate and enjoy. So let's look at each of these individually a little bit more closely and obviously see how they write. So here's a pen that made an appearance in my Omas 360 video. It's a pen I bought in the 90s at the Harrods department store in London. They had a great pen department in the basement, which I always visited when I went to London. I cleaned up the pen a little bit. It shows fingerprints on this very glossy surface, and there was a little bit of oxidation, but not much on the plated metal bits. As you can see, it doesn't line up exactly right if you really screw it down, and they do have the model of the pen engraved in or hot stamped, however it's done. So it's just a classic black pen, gold trim, which has very interesting features. That Greek motif in that cap band is really nice. And when you take off the cap, takes 1 3/4 turns, you'll see that same design reflected in the section, and I really like that. I think it adds a kind of level of class. It's a 2-tone 18-karat nib, and what makes this nib exceptional is it was tuned by Richard Binder, ebonite feet on the back. It's a piston filler, very easy to operate, no ink window, but I think with this design the ink window would detract from the aesthetics of the pen. It's a very light pen, which I think is a known trait of the cellulose acetate resin. It fits great in the hand. That section is just about perfect for me, not too large and not too small. There's no real step-ups that bother you, and if you hold it way back here, yeah, you could feel that step-up, but that's a long ways from the nib. And this design does post. That cap has only a little bit of weight to it. You do feel the cap there. Makes for a long pen, but it certainly can be posted if that's what you would like to do. That's this pen. We're going to move on to pen number 2. So on to pen number 2, a Mr. Cyprus Love at First Sight. And when I saw this in the Facebook post back in 2023, I said, whoa. I have to say that this is one of the prettiest pens that I own. And I think the details are exceptional. So this is brass, not plated, not coated. So it does patina. I did clean it up so it looks really great in this video. That interesting Greek motif reflected in that band at the bottom of the cap. This is not a piston fill, even though you think it would be with that cap there. But I just love the aesthetics of this pen. And if you take the cap off, it comes off in a little over 2 turns. And we'll see a really, really nice gold nib. I think they do a great job. Injection molded feed, you can see they put their logo there. And also we have that motif that was in the cap band reflected in the section. It reminds you a lot of what Omas did, doesn't it? And like with the Omas, this fits well in the hand. Feels good. Section is about the right size. I would like it a hair bit longer. I like a longer section so I can move my fingers up a little better. But it works nice. I can use this for long writing sessions. And not a pen I would post. It posts very high, makes for a very long back-weighted pen, and that cap has some decent weight to it. But I don't post, so therefore this works well for me. So one of the other unique little detail features of this pen is when you go to cap it, there's a spring-loaded cap liner in there, so you need to push it in to engage the threads. I always get a nice kick out of how that resin looks when you rotate the pen. It almost looks like it's made out of glass, kind of that Italian glass that I always love when I go to the arts and crafts show. So pen number 3, it's a 2024 pen, and it's the Asvine J16. They go into the J letters on this model. It's brushed titanium. It also comes in a nice shiny titanium, but I enjoy a brushed titanium look. Doesn't show fingerprints or things of that nature, so it keeps its look quite well. The cap comes off in 3/4 of a turn, which is really nice, and you see an excellent ink window there. And it does work. It's about half full now. And what makes this pen extra special is that's a broad Yovo nib. Maybe one of the first Chinese pens that has a broad Yovo nib as an option. It feels nice in the hand. I like the feel of that titanium metal. The section, again, is just about the perfect size for me. You can move your fingers around. There's no sharp edges and no real step up there to the barrel. And you would expect this design to post, and it does. But it's not a secure post. It does back weight the pen. The metal pen, that cap has a decent amount of weight to it. But I don't post, so therefore, not something that I put a lot of emphasis or priority to. I enjoy this pen quite a bit. It's been in numerous letters. It's been refilled a couple times since I got it just a brief time ago. So last but not least, pen number 4. Certainly the most colorful pen of the group. Classic design, reminiscent of a few other designs. And we'll see for the 3rd time a cap band with a geometric pattern in it, large cap band. A roller clip, very stiff, very functional. But I love this Hawaii resin. I think it's Hawaii, similar to what Pen BBS had. The cap comes off in over 2 turns, and we'll see just a medium gold-plated steel nib or gold-colored steel nib. And I enjoy the Asvine nibs. I think they're very, very great. This pen also fits fine in the hand uncapped. That section is, again, just the perfect size for me. And you can move your fingers around, no sharp edges. You can hold it wherever you'd like. And this one also does post. But post kind of high, but that cap's on the light side, so it doesn't back weight the pen as much as the others. And this is probably the most comfortable pen for me to write with posted bit. Nah, I don't do that. A nice little ink view window there. It's visible with the cap on. There's a lot of design differences on the J16. That ink window was hidden when you capped it, which is probably okay because you're not going to really worry about the ink level until you take the cap off and want to write. So functional, aesthetics, a whole bunch of different things. All that goes into play when you think about a pen, the design, the look, and primarily, does it encourage you to write, doodle, draw, sketch, whatever it is that you use your pens for, to putting down on some type of a surface. I certainly have enjoyed it for many, many, many decades and will continue to enjoy it for many more, if that is possible. Hopefully you heard how smooth this nib is. It just glides across the paper, lays down a consistent line. Since I've had it inked up with that new diamine ink, it's written first time every time I uncap it, but of course it hasn't set for more than a day or two. A lot of people let pens sit for a long period of time and then try to write with them and they don't write because the ink is dried up, which happens. Even the Mr. Cyprus pen has that problem. But use a pen every day, and it should write every day and write well. And I've really gone to enjoy this pen. When I bought it decades ago, I tried to use it as an everyday carry, and the writing was terrible, so I put it away. And then I went to the pen show with Richard Binder, and he tuned the nib. I learned a lot from watching him tune the nib, and then it wrote great, but I had moved on to other pens, and so it sat unused for decades. And then I decided to bring it out with the 360, and I'm glad I did. And that's the great part about having a collection like I have with thousands of pens. There's always one to rediscover and bring joy to your writing experiences. So this pen also went through a rediscovery. I had one of those shimmering Chinese inks that I love so much in the pen, and it wasn't a good combination, so the writing wasn't consistent. So I switched it out for a Robert Oster Jade, and now it writes incredibly well, incredibly consistent. But this is a completely different writing experience from the Omas. Very, very different. This nib is vintage-like. Adds a little sharpness to it, which you may have heard when I was writing. It's soft and bouncy, more bouncy than the Omas 18-karat nib, but it doesn't open up that much when you put pressure on it. So it's not a flexi nib, but that nice bounce, I enjoy the way that feels on the paper. And for some reason, this Robert Oster ink just dries almost instantaneously, which is quite unusual, because I think the nib lays down a decent amount of ink. So the pen has now become a regular in my rotation because of the ink. It's just the theme of this video. The ink makes the pen. So this pen has become one of my favorite pens to use for letters. This Iroshizuku ink works well. I mean, this is the best ink pen combination of this group. Just flows very, very well. Looks beautiful. Love the color. As you heard, the nib is a little bit different on the downstrokes versus the cross strokes, but that's okay. I enjoy a little feedback from a nib, and this is paper that has a little bit of texture to it. Fabriano. So that's the nice part about it. And like I said, ink makes the pen, and this is one of the best examples of that. I love just looking at the writing that I put down. So this is another pen I really enjoy writing with and enjoy looking at too, with an Asvine medium steel nib, which is very smooth, lays down a great amount of ink, and this is the Wet Pen Gas Parks ink, and I consider the Wet Pen inks to be wet inks, and its flow is phenomenal, very, very generous, and works very well and consistent. And this pen also, you uncap it, it writes pretty much first time. You may have to just do a little thing to get it started, and then it writes well. So we've talked about the 4 pens. Let's do a summary. So if you've enjoyed this video from Chris, I try to do things a little different. I try not, to bore you with the same thing over and over again. That's kind of like my style, and it'll continue to be my style. I have less and less viewers, but I don't know. Not in for this for the publicity or the fame or fortune. Fortune, certainly not. But I enjoy just sharing my pens with you, and hopefully you enjoy watching me enjoy my pens. And I think these are 4 great examples to start off 2025 with. We got something that's almost vintage from the 90s, a modern pen which has a lot of vintage features to it, a very modern titanium pen, and a classic turned acrylic pen and a phenomenal acrylic colors. All of these 4 write incredibly well. I enjoy them in my hand every time I pick them up. And that, to me, makes me very happy for 2025, because I'm certain there'll be a lot more pens that I might rediscover, find an ink combination that works well, and bring a smile to my face. Hopefully, a smile to yours too. So with that, we've come to the conclusion. I hope this video finds everyone safe, healthy, and happy, enjoying your pens, your inks, just having fun, having a smile on your face. That's what's really important. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone for watching. Have a wonderful, amazing, incredible new year, as every new year should be. New day, new hour, new minute. So with that, we've reached the end, and we will say bye-bye.